Well, hey, everybody. We had a minute of my intro because I can't figure out how to do Clubhouse. Okay. So, good morning and welcome to the Power of Breath, Unlocking Your Potential with Dr. J.R. Heiz, Dr. Vibe. And I'm so excited to have Dr. Vibe here, otherwise known as JR. And I want to tell you a little bit about JR before we start this show so you know the greatness that you're about to witness. So I'm pulling up your profile on your website so that I can make sure I capture everything, JR. Okay, so let's see here. So first of all, while I'm waiting for his website to do its beautiful thing, Dr. JR is an amazing healer, and we were blessed to be connected by our mutual friend, Sis, and he now has his own practice, and he's based in the Chicagoland area. Like me, he heals patients globally because he sends his beautiful energy remotely wherever he goes. He can support you in strengthening your health and well-being through various modalities, including behavioral and lifestyle coaching, biohacking, herbal medicine, supplementation, resonance therapy, energy medicine, and he's also offers holistic DNA methylation, which allows his clients to supplement for genetic deficiencies. He's an acupuncturist, Syntergenetica master therapist, and energy medicine specialist. He is a firm believer in balance and harmony, and he has created Dr. Vibe to empower and educate patients to heal. So I'm going to reframe that. He didn't create Dr. Vibe. He is Dr. Vibe. He embodies Dr. Vibe. So yeah. And I want to, before we get into the breath work, and I'm still trying to figure out Clubhouse, so forgive me on this. Okay, so I still don't know how to do this. So if somebody who's watching here knows how to teach me how to do Clubhouse, it would be awesome. One of the things that Dr. J.R. Heiz does, or J.R., you said methylation. People don't know how important it is that you're a good methylator. And I learned this the hard way. And if you're not a good methylator, like I was not a good methylator, your hormones won't send messages from your brain to the rest of your body, and it can show up as a mental health disorder. What a surprise. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do, JR, is I want you to share about the importance of breath work. If you could explain to people, for me, how it's connected to grief and releasing grief, the emotional components, and then I'm going to try to get us going on Clubhouse. Okay.
Sure.
I'm going to give you the stage here. Let's just hope I do this right. Nope, I didn't. There we are. Go ahead.
Well, Jodi, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
I love having you. So yeah.
It's a wonderful Monday.
Yes,
Happy Monday to everyone. But so going to breath work, breath work is essential in my practice. Breath work is essential simply because we don't know how to breathe properly. We catch ourselves breathing, up here within the shoulders and the neck area, not catching a really deep breath, and how that impacts the body is tremendous. Not only that, but we also have, daily pollutants that enter our body, whether it's in form of pollution in the air, our food that can be sometimes toxic, the toxic water supply, whatever the case may be, our high stress levels, high cortisol levels, and breath work. What breath work does is essentially charge every single cell in your body with this wonderful gas that we call oxygen that gave us life on this planet. And if we ignite the energy potential of every single cell so that it could supercharge and do its optimal work within this wonderful vehicle that we call the body, physical body at least, then everything functions closer to a state of homeostasis, which is balance and harmony. The natural state of the body is balance and harmony. So by taking a few minutes every day and essentially bombarding your system with this life force energy in a form of gas called oxygen, then we allow these functions to have a potential to work that much better. There's a there's a guy by the name of Greg Brecka. He's a
Gary
very
Gary Brecka.
Gary Brecka. Sorry, thank you, Gary
And
Brecka.
actually, he was the second person to introduce me to breathwork.
Ah, nice. Okay.
And it is highly powerful.
Hmm.
Um, and we did it live actually at an event here in Georgia because he was here for a short spell. And, you
He has a great
know,
quote.
tell
Um,
me the
he,
quote.
he says, "When oxygen is present, there's absence of disease."
Okay. So if
Okay.
that's not incentive enough for
Right.
you to learn this breath work, and how, so explain how we hold the energy of grief where?
In the lungs. In
Okay.
traditional Chinese medicine, the lung system is also known as the metal element, and it carries the emotion of grief. Now, grief can
So
be
if we're
lodged.
feeding our breath, JR,
Mhm.
and not breathing correctly, how is that grief getting released?
It's not being allowed to circulate. It's not being allowed to integrate within the body. We are sentient beings. We are meant to feel. That's the whole reason why we came on this physical plane in the first place, in order to feel with our five senses and the extra senses. And yes, the feelings can be as beautiful, magical, and miraculous as love and compassion. But there's also the other side of that coin, and it's not an opposite, it's a complement, where you have sadness, you have anger, you have frustration, you have fear, right? But they are all encompassing. We're meant to feel all these feelings in
Right.
order
And
to
and tell
be
people
human.
about tears because a lot of people are afraid to cry. Why there's like, there's the science on tears, right?
There is a there's a beautiful art form where when you cry, you can take a dropper of that tear that falls, put it in a solution, make a homeopathic remedy out of the energetics behind the tear, and then start taking drops of that, what we call homeoenergetics, in order to help you integrate what you are holding on to. Tears
Wait, wait, wait.
are
So you take a dropper of the tear and you do what with it?
put it in a solution. You could use bog essentials or any essential, excuse me, floral essential to enhance the properties so that you could help integrate. It's just like taking a homeopathic, basically taking the smallest fraction of a supplement
Hmm.
and allowing your body to uh, metabolize the information behind that drop. So that drop carries all of the emotion within that tear, all
So
of
are
the
you putting
emotion
it back in your mouth? Because I'm not sharing where we're putting the drop. I didn't
back in the
quite
mouth, back in the
got it
mouth.
because I didn't catch
Yeah,
that. I'm like,
yeah.
where were you
Sorry.
putting the
Yeah,
drop?
yeah. You take a drop. You take a sample of that wonderful, beautiful tear that carries all of that absolutely beautiful um, expression of that emotion. Because there are tears of joy too. Who
Oh,
doesn't
I
want to
have those all the
experience that,
time.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and if you take a sample of that tear of joy, you are literally taking a sample of pure ecstasy,
Got it. So take the
right?
tear of joy, wipe it from from
Yep,
your under your eyes,
exactly.
take
You
that
can put it
finger, put
directly.
it on your mouth, and
Yeah.
bring in the more joy. So I love
And if
that.
it's on the other side of that spectrum, if it is a tear of grief, right?
Mhm.
Then by putting a little sample in your mouth, allowing it to be integrated uh, in your digestive system. Now it's being moved and transformed and transmuted into energy potential that your body can use for fuel.
Nice. And there's
Mhm.
hormones in there, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
um, so anyway, this is really amazing, and I like to, we have a few people here. We're still waiting on a Clubhouse. It's open, so if you want to join Clubhouse, look for Self Cell Care with Susan Essentials, or look for me, Jodi Susan, and then of course you'll find my Clubhouse. But why don't we? Take people through an easy way to do breath work? Before we do that, I just want to show people my baby, which is my book. I'm going to make us larger so we can see it. Uh, Self Emotional Healing, Toxic Free Living, Model New Behaviors and Reset Old Belief Systems. And I'm all about doing that because I do it every single day with my All Clear protocol. So I'm always like, okay, I got this other belief system I don't need. Boom chakalaka, get her out. Okay, so we got some close-ups here, and also just if you're listening to this as a replay on a podcast channel, want to give you an opportunity to understand how to connect with Dr. JR. It's his direct number is 773-954-5422. If you're connecting with me, Reverend Jodi Susan, it's 847-738-0242. If you want to connect with Dr. Vibe at his email, what is that, JR?
It's dr, so doctor.vibe.me@gmail.com. And my website
Awesome.
is Dr.
Mhm.
Vibe, DRVIBE.me. Dr.
That
Vibe.
is awesome. And mine is my email is Jodi at SusanEssentials.com, or just go to the website, Susan Essentials. Susan rhymes with Tucson, but it's spelled differently. SUSON, essentials with an S. There you go, .com. All right. So take it away, JR. Show people what they need to know about breath work, and how they can release grief, how they can make sure that the energy is circulating in their body. Let's do it.
There are many there are many forms of breath work, and there's not one form that is better than the other. It is essentially what are you trying to do at the moment you are doing your breath work.
Mhm.
So Um, I've been practicing a style called Wim Hof for many years, and that's the style that works for me. And it takes me 8 minutes every morning, and it's a powerful igniter of that energy potential. So we'll do a version of that today, but there's holotropic breath, which is extremely powerful, extremely healing. Um, should always be done um, with someone who has been trained in holotropic breath or even a sitter, because it can be quite impactful on the body. You can have a DMT effect, um, and it has a psychedelic effect. Let's just put it that way. You don't take anything;
Oh,
it's all
what's
through.
DMT for the layman people?
It's a molecule that is found in herbal medicines such as ayahuasca, but DMT is produced by the body, right? So it's a natural expression of our psychism. We'll leave it at that. But
So
it
our
you know
so instead of doing ayahuasca, you can actually create an ayahuasca effect by breathing or
absolutely,
doing a breath work experience.
absolutely, yeah.
So,
Usually,
and also, I just want to say this, whatever we say on this show is for entertainment purposes only. And if you want to see a real medical professional, you should see somebody who has an MD and not the amazing JR Heiz. Now, thank you, YouTube. You all know why we're saying this. And yeah, so now take it away.
But if I want to go back to the essential part of breath work. All right,
Okay.
whatever time you do it, whether morning, afternoon, or evening, the idea is to sit down, hopefully sitting rather than laying down, because usually people fall asleep. So sitting upright, head held up high. If you're sitting on a chair, then lean back, but don't lean your head back on the chair. Kind of keep your head um, held up high. And take a moment to breathe. It doesn't matter whether you breathe through your nose or your mouth. Essentially, just pause, breathe. All right. That is the essential um, uh, practice of mindfulness, being present in the moment, being here now, inhaling, and try to really draw that energy, filling up the pelvis, the belly, the lower lung, the upper lung, and then just releasing it.
Okay,
That's
let's take them
all
through
breath.
the step-by-step process. Let's get them, because they're not going to remember, right? So let's just get them going.
Get into
Okay.
it. All right, perfect. So find somewhere comfortable to sit. All right.
Mhm.
If your feet are on the floor, fantastic. Just imagine your feet grounding. All right. And whether your eyes are open or closed, it doesn't matter. Again, you can inhale through your nose or your mouth, it doesn't matter. But essentially, I want you to just take a deep breath in, fully in. Let's actually practice this through the mouth. And then let it go. Let's do one more. Let it go. And we're going to do about 10 of these. Fully in,
Okay,
let
I
it
remember
go.
getting lightheaded last time
Yep,
too.
it's
So,
completely normal. Yeah, yeah, you're going to get
so,
a
well,
little
I
loopy.
can't do too much of that
No,
lightheadedness
no,
because I
no,
still have
that's
to run
fine.
the podcast. So,
Let's do just five more. Just five more, just so that you could experience it.
oh,
Okay?
I know. But go ahead
All
and
right,
run it, and I will run the
right.
show. Go ahead.
Fully in, let it go. Let's do three more. Fully in, let it go. Fully in. Now let it go. And then just pause. Don't breathe. Don't do anything. Be present. Be here right now. This is the only time that matters. When you feel the desire to inhale, then just inhale and then hold for a few seconds and you could exhale. It doesn't matter. But what I want to bring your attention to is when you breathe in this way, whether it's a fast breath or a slow breath, the idea is you're getting a little loopy. You're going to get some tingly effects within your fingers, your toes, and that's completely normal. Why? Because you are dilating your blood vessels, bombarding your system with oxygen that is entering and circulating throughout your body, and it is reducing inflammation within your blood vessels. That's why you're getting the little loopiness. Okay, the loopiness does not last. The loopiness is not a side effect. If anything, you want to enhance that effect um, because the whole purpose of this is to um, regulate your pH levels so that you're slightly more alkaline than acidic. And this breath does that beautifully. You are reducing inflammatory markers, you are enhancing your immune system, you are regulating your hormone system. It also generates something called neurogenesis, which is the production of new neurons. So, the method with regards to Wim Hof is a three-step process. You inhale, you exhale just like we did. You do that 30 times in a row, 30 to 40 times.
Hmm.
And on your last breath, you inhale, you exhale, and you hold. You hold, and this is not a competition. Some people hold for 30 seconds, some people hold for 3 minutes without any oxygen in your lungs. Why? Because it's circulating throughout your body. Then you take a gasp of air, you hold for a few seconds, and you let it go. And the method is repeated 3 times. So that those 30 breaths, the hold, and then the exhale. And you just repeat that 3 times over. And that's usually done within 10 minutes. I will I will not leave my apartment without doing my breath work every morning. It is
So it's a
essential.
non-negotiable for
It's a
you.
non-negotiable.
So, um, what brought you to breath work, JR? What's your story?
So I despise the cold. I
Okay.
live in Chicago. I know. I despise the cold. I don't like it. There's nothing I like about the cold. But so I came across Wim Hof. He's known as the Iceman. He climbed Mount Everest in shorts. He swam the Arctic Circle. He ran a marathon in the desert without the need for any water. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's
he
crazy.
developed this method called the Wim Hof method, and that's what we just explained, right? That breath work, and it allows you to have full control over your autonomy. It allows you to tap deepest within your mind, within your body, so that you have full control over your vessel. So I was intrigued by this because since I don't like the cold, I wanted to train myself to do cold therapy. Yes,
Hmm.
I haven't taken a hot shower in about 15 years. I do cold
You have
plunges.
not taken a hot shower in 15 years.
Yeah, maybe a handful of times within that.
Wow.
But it's in order to train my body to be in that stressful state, which is it's known as hormesis. It's a small stress within the body, but you have full control. So it's not that I don't feel the cold when I do an ice plunge or when I jump in Lake Michigan in the middle of winter. You
Hmm.
will feel the cold. All right. I still don't like the cold, but now I have full control over my mind and my body where the cold doesn't impact me as much.
So
That
you're
and I
kind
drink
of
green
numb
tea.
to it in a way because you've
You
kind of
adapt
upped
to it.
the game.
You adapt to it.
You
And
adapted
this,
to it. You up
yeah,
the game.
exactly. So this
What
this
about,
is
oh, go ahead.
sorry, this breath work,
Mhm.
whether again Wim Hof or any other style, but Wim Hof specifically, allows you to adapt to your environment. And adapting to your environment, whether hot, cold, dry, wet, doesn't matter. Now you have control over your vessel so that your environment no longer takes a toll on you, no longer controls you. And that's the power of breath work.
Do you ever do it before you go to sleep?
Yes, thank you for asking that. So usually in the morning, what you want to do is, or what most people want to do is invigorate in the morning, right?
Hmm.
So we usually get up and make a cup of Joe, a cup of coffee, right? But while the coffee is brewing, this breath work can be done as quickly and powerful, just like I'm going to do now, where you inhale and exhale, right, and do 30 rounds like that. And that's invigorating. That's going to charge you up.
Right.
At
So,
nighttime,
yeah, go
going
ahead.
back to your question, at nighttime, what you want to do is do the same breath, but do it slightly with a slightly longer exhale than the inhale. So when you exhale a little bit longer than your inhale, you're going to calm the system down. You're going to reduce cortisol levels. You're going to relax your muscles. You're going to relax your body. And when your body relaxes, your mind follows. And that's going to help you enter in a
Yeah, because
state
we
where you
want to
can
be in the
have better.
parasympathetic system
Exactly.
mode, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you that, for many years, I was in input overload. So I couldn't, I'm like parasympathetic, sympathetic, parasympathetic, sympathetic. What's the difference? Well, if you're sympathizing with someone, it's sympathetic and you're giving your energy away and you're connecting to their emotional dysregulation, right? So, um, how I remember the difference now is I always want to be in parasympathetic mode. I don't want to be sympathizing. I mean, I can be sympathetic, but I keep my energy, you know, to myself and disconnected from others unless I'm actively healing, right? Someone.
The
Uh,
sympathetic nervous system, a quick image to understand it is parasympathetic is relaxed, calm, relaxed. Sympathetic is running away from a knife wielding bear.
Mm-hmm. It is, right?
There.
But for me, I was sympathizing.
Mhm,
So that's how I remembered it.
mhm,
Sympathetic, sympathizing. And para in Spanish, that means for,
mhm.
right? So I'm not sure how to remember that for, I don't know. Uh,
Parasympathetic is allowing the body to be calm at all times in order to ignite the sympathetic when needed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we don't, and most of us are in sympathetic mode most of the time. Would you agree? Unless
Yes.
we're actively choosing, we have that community, people who are actively choosing uh a parasympathetic state by doing breath work, by using oils, by having activity in the morning to do walking or in the cold shower.
Hmm.
That's never going to happen.
Now, here's the thing. I mentioned I haven't taken a cold shower in many years. However, you don't have to do cold plunges. You don't have to do a full shower cycle in the cold. Okay, as simple as the simplest form of doing of getting all the benefits of cold therapy is do your normal shower routine, and at the
Hmm.
end of the shower, turn off all the hot water and
Hmm.
stay there for 30 seconds.
I've
30
done that.
seconds.
Yeah,
That's
I've done
all.
that for
You will
sure.
get all the benefits. If you're doing it an ice plunge, anywhere between 3 to 6 minutes is recommended. No
Yeah, I'm
more
not
than
doing
three
that.
minutes. Don't
I'll do
dunk
my
your
breath
head,
work.
right? Don't dunk your head in. You have a very, very little gap of space between the skull and the brain. And the brain doesn't want to be roasted in a sauna, and the brain doesn't want to be frozen in an ice bath.
Tell me about it, right?
So, you know,
I my Yes. The answer is yes. So let's talk about how breath work increases the mind body connection. So, and why is it important, first of all, for people to be able to tune into their own body and emotions? Why is that important?
going back to my previous statement of we are sentient beings,
Mm-hmm.
right? Without, if we were not sentient, if we did not have the ability to feel, we would be robots,
Right.
right?
But
So the
okay.
whole the
So why
whole
is it important?
the whole aspect of life is to feel all emotions. That's the beauty of what life is. So
What is
when
the benefit, though, to the listener for feeling their emotions? Because a lot of people won't, so they're not doing it. Why should they consider feeling their emotions?
to evolve
To what?
the
I'm
highest
playing
potential,
devil's advocate here.
to evolve, to learn, to feeling is the most beautiful thing in the world. Even the ugly feelings, all right, they teach us. They they teach us lessons. They teach us. Imagine if imagine the first time you have ever felt compassion. Imagine the first time you have felt sadness,
Mhm.
and how that impacted your body, how your body reacted. You know, sadness is a beautiful emotion when it is expressed uh, in its natural form. Don't bottle things in.
Right.
Okay, here's
So
an
here's the
example,
thing. Right. Okay, go ahead.
real quick. Here's an example. If you have anger, if
Mhm.
you have frustration, if you have irritability, and you have rage, okay, that's going to impact your body tremendously. And if you don't find a way of expressing it, whether it's in form of journaling or hitting a punching bag or
Going for a
getting that
walk or a
frustration or
run.
going right exactly or grounding, um, if you don't find a way to express that, what happens is that charge, that anger charge, builds up in the body, and what happens then? It either explodes, which you punch a hole through the wall, or
Mhm.
you yell at your sibling or your partner, or it implodes. And what is
Mhm.
an implosion? That's a cancer.
Or to be before you get cancer can implode like what I had, which was sores like
Yes.
cancerous sores all over my body,
Hmm.
right? I was imploding. Um, so you're going to have other signals prior to the cancer. And, so, I don't want to create fear like, so that if you don't do this, you're automatically getting cancer. You've
Right.
got time. Don't worry. God's got your back. But I also want to give people an incentive. Okay. So, why is it, again, I'm representing the question and I'll also give the answer. Why is it important to increase that mind body connection? Well, if you can feel your feelings, cry, anger, sadness, happy, right? Let's not forget happy, um, and be aware of how you feel around certain environments, you can start recognizing the signal that you're getting, that your body's giving you in specific instances, specific environments. Okay. So look at the signal. There was a person, this is going back like 9 years, whom I used to speak to. And when I spoke to this person, I broke out in hives every time. That was a signal. I wasn't like allergic to something other than their energy. Okay. Um, so I stopped being around that person, first of all. And then I learned how to clear my trauma or reaction to whatever that person was delivering to me. And so the All Clear protocol is great for that, which is free on my website. You just, if you want to text me All Clear protocol, I'll send it to you. Text me at 847-738-0242. And, you know, but if we're not paying attention to those signals, then we don't know how to modify our current situation to live our best lives, to live by our highest values. And so then the other thing is, if we understand what makes us happy and we understand what doesn't make us happy, then we can choose differently to bring in more happy and clear the trigger for the unhappy. And I think it's really important to state, and I know you know this, JR, very, very well. A lot of those triggers are not even from this lifetime. You came here in this lifetime to clear the lineage. I know if you're listening to this, you're coming here today because you needed to hear that message. God just told me. So
There's
that's
also
why it's so important. Go ahead. Yep.
you know, the terminology for mind body connection, it seems a little woo woo, right?
Hmm.
But it's essentially bringing your awareness, bringing your consciousness to this time, this space, wherever you are, all right, and
Hmm.
tapping in to your body. So here's the thing: mind. We always point to the top of our head when we talk about the mind, right? Top of the head is the brain, right? The brain is a fraction of the mind.
Hmm.
The mind is the ether that is within our body, the one energy, the one aspect that connects every single cell in our body. So um, there's a famous man by the name of Sadhguru, and he always mentions that this this body that we have is a the most sophisticated chemical factory in the world.
Hmm.
In this factory, we have 50 trillion cells, our employees.
50 trillion cells.
Okay, 50 trillion employees. And now
Wow.
the choice is: do you want to be a good CEO or a bad CEO?
Right.
Right? I love that quote because your mind is the expression of every single cell in your body. Your mind is, and I'll take it even a step further, your mind is an expression of every mitochondria in your body.
So
The mitochondria.
exactly.
So
And Dr.
now,
Patrick Porter said yesterday, you can actually change your cells using your mind in 40 seconds. You can change your DNA in 40 seconds. Every 40 seconds, you're changing your cells. What do you want to change it to is what I want to ask you.
right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So being mindful, or having this mind-body connection is gifting your mind, the big mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Gifting it, giving it the gift of presence, so that
Mm-hmm.
you can tap into your body, have a an interaction, have a communication with this chemical factory, where it will tell you, maybe I need a little maintenance here, or maybe I need a little, adjustment there, or maybe I need this nutrition today, or maybe, hey, maybe I feel amazing and I don't need anything, right? Or maybe it just takes the conscious effort of raising your vibrational frequency. And what does that do? It's charging your battery.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just an affirmation of, I raise my vibrational frequency in the highest and best way, right here, right now, and feel that
Bump it up.
charge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Feel that
I
charge
mean,
in your
you taught
body.
me that.
Hmm.
You taught me, you're like, Jodi, bump up your vibration,
Right.
right? I'm like, oh, okay, because all you have to do is ask.
Yep.
And when you are practicing breath work or mindfulness, you're reducing your stress, right? And you're increasing your creativity and the ability to problem solve. Because when we get, okay, think about this. You take, pardon my, well, I won't use French. You're taking a poop, right?
Mm.
You're by yourself. Hopefully you left the phone somewhere else, okay? And or you're taking a shower, which you definitely didn't take the phone there. You're just kind of by yourself and with God. And you're calming down, and all of a sudden you get these great ideas. Why? You're not in a distraction mode. You're not being distracted by this little ditty, the phone. You are not distracted by someone else unless you decide to take a poop or a shower with a friend. Okay. Let's just get real. We're hopefully not pooping with other people. But you might shower with somebody. So there you go. Uh, um, so, like, really, it's when we can settle ourselves down. This is just one way, and breath work is amazing. And honestly, I don't do it enough. I only started learning it 2 years ago. And anybody who knows me, I mean, if you're on a live video watching this, I've got my banner back here. It took me 20 years to figure out that the medications weren't working. Okay, so and and I gained 100 pounds doing it. So I'm not the fastest, turtle in the race, but I learned it. And so I encourage you to explore different things to become the best version of who you are. Um, you know, we're all on this path, and we have the ability to co-create with the universe everything and anything we want. And that's for you, right? You can do this. If I can reverse 54 chronic conditions, I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV, right? So just saying.
You
So
put
if
on the CEO hat.
but I do have the CEO hat. And what I did do, and thank you to my late brother, Dr. Steven Susan. You see, when I was 20, which was 40 plus years ago, he took me to Landmark Education so that I could learn to be in the DK zone, which is I don't know what I don't know. And I do fully credit him, because had I not had that training at the age of 20, 30 years later, when I was on disability and disabled, right? I knew I wasn't going to die. because I knew I had the option of choosing differently. But it took the universe having to lay me out flat, right? Because I was ignoring the signals. So it took the universe, they had to lay me out flat on my back before, I chose differently and decided to quiet my own mind and really practice retraining my brain. And breath work is a part of retraining your brain. Would you
But
agree?
let me just add
Yeah, I
one
was like,
little
would
thing.
you agree or do you have something to
Oh
add?
no, I agree entirely. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, well, I'll put it very simply.
Mhm.
Life is chaotic.
Oh, gosh,
All
yes.
right, life is chaos. Chaos is not a bad thing. We needed chaos to create the Big Bang that created everything else. If you want to use that theory, okay?
Hmm.
Chaos is that energy potential. It's that energy spark, right? But that spark is chaotic. So life is chaotic, right? Not good or not bad, it's chaotic. So, what is the complement to chaos? It's pausing.
Hmm.
So, meditation is an act of pause. However, whatever technique, ABC 1, 2, 3 that you use, meditation is always comes down to its simplest nature, and that is the act of pausing. So, what best way to pause and recharge than to do breath work?
Yeah,
And when
and
you do, and
if
when
you
you
want
do
to
this,
pause, my doctor taught me to get a remote control if you need a memory to pause. Okay,
you
go
know,
ahead.
it's when you find that balance between pause and active movement or active intelligence, which we now call chaos, right? When you find that balance between both, now you reach a state of bliss. Now you reach a state of ecstasy. Now there's no there's nothing in your environment, whether external or internal, that can generate a state of dis-ease. Disease is two words. It's life no longer easy. So
Mm,
imagine just going from that chaos to
yep.
taking a few minutes to just pause and finding that yumminess in between, that balance in between, where instead of being in a life of dis-ease, you are now living with ease. And
Right.
that
And I think
is
you made a really good point. I often um, don't choose to recognize chaos because I don't
Mhm.
really like chaos. But this, but so, but if you can't have one without the other.
They complement
So,
each other. They are not opposites.
right, they complement. And so,
I'll
if
play
you
that.
can bring harmony, so like there's levels of chaos. Like there's a friend of mine who I met, and I think she's watching today. And she's so wonderful, but sometimes we get electric because we're like so excited. And that electricity between the two of us is still um, chaotic. So then I bring a pause. So um, and so anyways, so chaos can be okay, but you have
Chaos
to
is
realize
beautiful.
when it hits a certain level, you need to bring in that pause button.
Chaos is
So
beautiful. It's the miracle of life.
yeah, yeah,
Giving
yeah.
birth is chaotic. Trust me. And
You've
what
had
is
babies?
well?
Ah,
Let's just say I know by proxy.
you witnessed. Okay.
But
So
it is chaotic, right? And what is the opposite of that? Death. Death is not the opposite, it's the complement. Death is the most is the deepest form of pause, because now you are returning to source.
yeah. So we have a couple minutes left, and I want to give people some information about this week's lineup. I don't know how this happened, but it did, and it's going to be amazing. And if you mute yourself because of this siren, here we go. I'll just mute. Okay. So I muted Jer for a minute. Not really him, muted his siren. So tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, I have Philip Wilson He is a child prodigy. He has the relaxed sauna. He'll be on. I think that siren is gone. Yeah, siren's pretty much gone, almost gone. Then the following day at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I have Cam Crutcher, and we're going to talk about how God answers all your prayers. Okay. And then, so that's 7, 8, 9. So then the following week, I have, oh, goodness gracious me. Oh, I have Rajai Keldani on, and we're going to be doing live energy work. The 22nd, I have Dr. Tom Lankering. We're going to talk about, chiropractic in our brains and, how to have more energy. And then on the 29th, I have Dr. Paul from Echo Water, Hydrogen Water. So we have amazing people for the month of April. We kicked it off with my amazing friend, Dr. JR. Thank you for being here. And JR, how do people get in touch with you again?
So you can contact me directly or go on. Best way would be to go on my website, drvibe.me, drvibe.me. And also, if I can just add this little plug-in, my book is free to download. My ebook is free to download on my website. It's called The Ritual of You, and it's just little hints and tips for making life as easy as possible. Not simple, but a little bit more easy. So feel free
So
to
I'm
download that. It's free.
looking to see where I can find that on your website. I didn't have that link. If you want to put the link in the chat, go ahead and do that. And also join our clubhouse, the Susan Essentials Clubhouse, please. We really want to encourage engagement. I want to hear your voice. It doesn't mean I can always hear everyone's voice, but we want to hear your voice. I want you to speak. I want you to be heard. And so I decided to encourage people to join Clubhouse. We'll run these events. We'll have Clubhouse going at the same time, and we can bring you in and you can present your question or your thoughts. Okay. We're going to have a lot of fun and we're going to rock this out. So, and then you can watch this on every platform that that has podcasts. So that includes Apple Podcasts, Rumble, Audible, Spotify, iHeart, and PodBean. And I'm actually going to put, I don't know if it'll post, but I'll put all the links in the thread here, and y'all can, pick the platform of your choice. All right. So thank
One
you.
quick thing,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Jody.
Yeah, yeah.
I just noticed that my website is having a little maintenance, so it should be available by this afternoon. But yeah, I just checked the website. It's not active
Totally
right now.
fine.
They're doing some back
I've
office
had
work.
it happen. We've
So
all had it happen. You guys know how to get with Dr. JR. Text him, email him, go to his website. He'll get you the book. So anyway, it looks like Facebook doesn't want me to share any links right now either. So there's a whole lot of things going on. So that's hilarious. Like, not on my platform. All right, everybody. So thank you. And I'm just going to put in our got my new this pre intro video and exit video actually does brainwave correction. So as you listen to it, try to embrace, resetting your own brain. God bless. Wow. Bye, everybody.